is a steamy summer night in downtown Cincinnati, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. Round 2 of this 4-game series between the Reds and the Diamondbacks. Arizona coming away winners in the series opener here last night, ending the Reds' 6-game winning streak. Hi again, everybody. Check him out. Chris Welsh looking good because of you. That was our textbook question when we were in San Diego. You said it's got to come back. It is back by popular demand. You're looking mighty good.
Thank you. Bowtie Tuesday. The Reds need a big win tonight.
And as far as, you know, the reaction, the feeling, all the fans clearly very upset knowing that Joey Votto, who had successful knee surgery today, by the way, is going to be out anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, you know, a lot of guys have been asked on the ball club. In fact, everybody's been asked, what are you going to do, from Walt Jocketty and Bob Castellini straight on down. But Dusty Baker's the manager of this ball club. He's a guy that has his thumb on the pulse of the team. He challenges them, and sometimes, and other times he's boosting them along. I don't think Dusty Baker's worried one bit what anybody else says about Joey Votto and missing. He knows what's important to his own ball club.
I don't know how it is elsewhere. I don't know how it is outside the stadium, but inside the stadium, our guys are very confident that we'll pick Joey up until he comes back.
But it doesn't mean we're not a good team, you know, while he's, you know, healing and mending and coming back and getting ready to play. So, you know, we're going to go out and do what we're going to do and you know, prepare to play our best and do the best we can. I think we're a good team, and we're going to pitch, and we're going to play defense, and we're going to grind at bats out and you know, try to win series.
Well, the Reds made it official today. Joey Votto placed on the 15-day disabled list. They have brought up recently acquired right-hander Todd Redmond from the minor leagues. He has been a starter the entire season in the Braves minor league system. And I would imagine, Chris, just hedging against the possibility that Johnny Cueto's blister is not quite right.
You're exactly right. You never really are certain until you get game speed out there. You put a little pressure on your slider, you pop that blister back open, and then you've got to look for somebody to help. Dusty Baker's been leaning on his bullpen a lot over the last few days. That's why Todd Redmond is here. He's a control pitcher. Although he throws in the 90s, and he's got pretty good stuff. Big, strong guy. I think you'll like him. Hopefully, though, you don't see him too early tonight, not in a Johnny Cueto start.
Well, speaking of Johnny, we're going to talk about him, and boy, when he's pitching in this ballpark, the numbers are simply mind-boggling. Plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. Here's Michelle Boudelette.
It'll be another hot and humid night at the ballpark by the beginning of the game. 92 degrees with just a few clouds. 88 by the 7th inning stretch. Still muggy, down to 83 by the end of the game this evening. I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelette for Fox Sports Ohio. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, Michelle. And the Reds are happy to have Johnny Cueto on the mound tonight after losing the opener last night.
Well, especially when you got Johnny Cueto pitching at home. You see the record, 5 wins, 1 loss, a real good earned run average. But that only tells really part of the story for Johnny Cueto, because what he's done here at home, the most home run friendly ballpark in all of baseball, is just staggering. His earned run average here at Great American Ballpark this year, 1.7. Every other pitcher, including Reds pitchers and all the opposing pitchers together, their earned run average is 4.29 here, and that is a difference of 2.53. Hate to do math in public, but this number right here shows you what the average Joe does at Great American Ballpark, and this is what our Johnny Cueto does right there, a 1.7 earned run average. It's really beyond description. He's going to show us how he does it tonight.
And he didn't make the All-Star team.
He didn't? He made my All-Star team.
Brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA, let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili, game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Kirk Gibson and his starting lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 3 games under 500. Stephen Drew, Willie Bloomquist, Aaron Hilda started. Miguel Montero, Justin Upton, and Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup in the middle. Latter third of Chris Young, Gerardo Parra, and the rookie right-hander Trevor Bauer against right-hander 10-5 record, the Reds ace, Johnny Cueto, and they need a good game tonight from Cueto.
Well, they did. The original plan for Johnny Cueto was to pitch a Sunday after the All-Star break, giving him some extra rest, a full week. But he even got more than that because he had a blister on his hand. According to the Reds, he could not pitch. So they give him a few more days. They flip-flopped a couple of pitchers, and here he is to try to win this ball game after the Reds finally had their winning streak broken.
So a strike on the first pitch to Drew. We're underway. That one misses high and away. A ball and a strike. Talked about Drew. He broke his ankle in July of 2011. Just came back a couple of weeks ago, playing tonight in his 14th game for the Diamondbacks. Top part of this batting order. They got after it right from the start last night. Singles by Drew, Bloomquist, Hill, a double by Montero, a single by Upton. 5 batters, 5 hits, 4 runs, and the Diamondbacks never looked back. 2-2. Not only needing a good outing from Cueto to pitch the Reds to a victory, that's first and foremost, but they also need Cueto to gobble up some quality innings after the 3-inning stint last night by starter and eventual loser Bronson Arroyo. Both starting pitchers tonight. Now Bauer, of course, has not come out of the dugout to officially make the start yet, as that one is fouled out of play. But during his extended warm-up, and we'll document that, Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro touched on it during Reds Live. But both Cueto, and there you get a look at Bauer, both of them on this very hot night wearing long sleeves. A real good at bat here for Stephen Drew to lead off the game. Johnny working on a little bit of dye at the end of that beard right now.
You like that look?
Well, the question is, does he like it? And I would imagine he does. There's a tapper back to the mound. So it took 8 pitches, but Drew bounces out. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. No Jay Bruce tonight. Dusty Baker had said all along both Joey Votto and Jay Bruce would get a day off following the All-Star Game festivities. So Heisey then odd and right. Regular infield started the game here last night. In the absence of Joey Votto, day 2. Willie Bloomquist looks at a first pitch fastball at 93 a strike. Willie had a good game last night. 3 hits in 5 at bats. He scored a run. Bloomquist has pretty much taken over that third base job. Ryan Roberts came out of nowhere and had a monster 2011. Of course, a lot of Diamondbacks had breakthrough years in 2011. They won 94 games and the divisional championship. But Roberts not the same player here in 2012 that he was a season ago.
Well, Bloomquist, by contrast, is actually a better player this year than he was last year. At 30 points to your batting average. Not much in the way of power, but still, he's on base. He's made some nice plays at third base.
Second hop for Cozart. He'll cut it loose, and there are 2 out.
You know, as you watch Johnny Cueto pitch, we're used to seeing it as Reds fans. We've watched him so many times, 18 starts already this year. And that big twisting, turning delivery, the Louis Tiant style. He, by the way, probably didn't know who Louis Tiant was when he began to develop that style. But we're really treated tonight to a pitching matchup of Johnny, who does it his own way with that big twist turn at the top of his delivery, and Trevor Bauer, who has a little bit of an unusual delivery himself. 2 guys that are kind of following the beat of their own drums.
Now Aaron Hill, the second baseman, with 2 down and nobody on. Of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks were the team against which Johnny Cueto made his major league debut, going back to the 3rd of April in 2008. And what a sparkling debut it was. Became the first pitcher in modern history to debut with at least 10 strikeouts and not walk a batter, and became the first Reds pitcher since the year 1900 to strike out 10 in his first major league start. Frazier able to catch up with it in foul ground. Nice play by Todd. That'll end the inning. So Cueto off to a good start. And the Reds are coming up. Trevor Bauer has quite the routine. Takes him close to an hour and a half. Multiple exercises, stretching, long tossing, and boy, do I mean long tossing. Take a look at that.
That is from one end of the foul pole line to the other. And how about delivering this first pitch?
Trevor Bauer is making his 4th major league start. Was college baseball's best pitcher, won the Golden Spikes Award out of UCLA 1 year ago. He was just getting out of college. Made a handful of starts at a couple of different levels in the Diamondbacks organization. And now making his 4th major league start here tonight. Take a look at the Reds lineup under manager Dusty Baker. 11 games over the 500 mark. Drew Stubbs, Zach Cozart, Brandon Phillips in a 3-hole. Ryan Ludwig bats cleanup. Scott Rowland at third. Todd Frazier at first. A latter third of Chris Heisey, Ryan Hannigan, and Johnny Cueto. Drew Stubbs, a solid game here last night. 2 hits and 3 at-bats. Was on base 3 times and knocked in a couple of runs. Hoping for something to build on. So now Bauer is just about ready. Just when you think he's ready, there's a few more things he's got to get straightened out. A little gardening work on the mound, and here we go.
What Bauer will feature for you tonight is a fastball anywhere from 90 to say 94 miles an hour. He has been clocked in the major leagues as fast as 95, but he usually pitches around 90, 92. He'll throw a changeup, a curveball, and also a pitch that some people have called it a splitter, others have called it a screwball. And there it is.
Bauer enters this season ranked by Baseball America as the #1 prospect in the Diamondbacks organization, and based on his numbers his first year, full year in professional baseball, you can understand why. He has walked Stubbs to lead off the game.
Well, the numbers that you post at a big college program like UCLA usually don't lie. That's why when a player is selected in the first round from a program like that, chances are he's only a step or two away from the major leagues. In fact, you could probably get out of a program like that and go right to Double-A and not skip a beat.
Of course, for the Reds, Mike Leake came out of a similar program. In fact, a better program than UCLA at Arizona State. And of course, we know his story. He walked right into the major leagues. Stubbs tardy on Cozart, I beg your pardon, down strike 1. But this year for Bauer in the minor leagues, he began the year in Double-A. That's in Mobile, Alabama. Eventually moved up to AAA Reno, an 11-1 record, an ERA at 2.23. Tied for the minor league lead in wins at the time of his promotion, and second in all of minor league baseball in strikeouts. Slow roller here, and it's booted by Drew. Diamondbacks generally a very sure-handed defense, ranking second to the Reds in the National League statistically. Their defense presented by Ford drew the early air. Goldschmidt the nod at first base tonight. Montero and Bauer the battery. They've had their issues early on this year. In fact, it showed up in the newspapers out in Arizona, where Miguel Montero became quite frustrated at all the shaking off Bauer was doing. And the two of them, they believe, are now on the same page and moving forward from here on out.
Well, that's not really an uncommon thing. In fact, it happens all the time. Young pitcher who has an idea what he wants to do. A catcher and a scouting report that may differ from that. He wants to pitch to his strengths. The scouting report wants to pitch to the hitter's weaknesses. Sometimes they don't always match up.
Well, one on Brandon Phillips.
I think the Reds kind of did the same thing, have over the years gone through that same type of thing, maybe not as dramatic, with Homer Bailey. Homer being a strong-willed guy, wants to throw certain pitches. Catcher calls for something else. He shakes it off, wants to go back to it, and all is fine until somebody hits a home run, and then, you know, sometimes the blame is mistakenly laid on the pitcher because he's too stubborn. Well, he's the one that's got to throw the baseball.
Tonight is only the 5th game played by the Reds so far this year where Joey Votto did not bat third in the lineup. Brandon Phillips is there for the 3rd time. Todd Frazier hit third for the first time all year last night. And Jay Bruce has been there once himself. Phillips had a pitch to hit right there, left right over the middle of the plate, and he fouled it back to the screen.
Well, just like the Diamondbacks jumped all over Bronson Arroyo early last night, really before he could get his sea legs going, now would be a great time to put a dent in the armor of Trevor Bauer. You let him get on a roll like he did in his last start against the Los Angeles Dodgers, he can pitch a pretty good major league ball game for you.
2 on, none out, 1-2 to Brandon, and it's low and away. Good eye there by the Reds' second baseman.
In that ball game, he went 6 innings and only gave up 2 hits to the Dodgers. No runs, struck out 6.
And retired the final 12 batters he faced in that game.
You know, a lot of people will read a little bit about Trevor Bauer. They'll watch him warm up and they'll make a judgment that this kid is just being eccentric, maybe to be eccentric. But that is far from the truth. Ever since he was a young man, this guy has just been enamored with, if not the physics of pitching, certainly the love of pitching, of throwing. He would throw and throw and throw as a high school kid, lugging a bucket of balls over to the ballpark so he could throw long toss by himself when he couldn't find anybody else to be there.
In fact, they said during the All-Star break, because he had tweaked a groin right before the break, he actually took 2 days where he did not throw at all, and they said those were 2 of only 3 days this entire baseball season where he did not throw.
Well, he adheres to that theory where it will rust off before it wears off.
Brandon Phillips gone swinging, out number 1 here in the 1st inning.
Got him on a fastball and had a little rise on that ball. Miguel Montero giving a sign of affirmation to his young pitcher out there. You know, one of Bauer's theories, And it's not his only theory, but he adheres to a theory put forth by a pitching coach named Perry Husband, which makes the determination that the batter has to determine within the first 20 feet of the ball leaving the pitcher's hand whether he's going to swing or not. So Bauer's idea, or his theory, is to make every pitch look like it's the same in that first 20 feet. So what he and his father did, Warren, who was a chemical engineer, was actually built a contraption that looked like a tunnel that they would place 20 feet in front of his practice pitching mound. And he would practice throwing the ball through that strike zone, which would be at 20 feet, 13 inches by 10 inches. So if you practice throwing through the tunnel, those balls are going to end up in the strike zone. And the idea is to practice to make every one of those pitches look the same, so the hitter really doesn't know what's coming.
That's a father spending a lot of time with his son. Took a little off there, 2-0 pitch, and Ludwig takes it for a strike. 2-1 on Ryan Ludwig.
Big league veteran pitch right there. A 2-0 changeup to a guy looking dead red fastball. I mean, a lot of youngsters come up out of the minor leagues and they're so scared in their fourth major league start that they're just going to rear back and try to throw it by these guys. He's ahead of that curve.
Runners go, and a throw is down to third. It's in the dirt, and the Reds pull off a rare double steal. Of course, they haven't been running much at all this entire year. They've had a hard enough time getting guys on base, but now Stubbs and Cozart both in scoring position.
Well, you've got two of the best runners on the ball club on the bases, so the combination isn't always there with Stubbs and Cozart. But the key to it is Stubbs. Get a big lead, not give in to the pitcher that let him know that you think you're going to go, get an extra step, and with his speed, he makes it easily.
Pitch missed, by the way, for ball 3, so 3-1 on Ludwig, trying to get the Reds on the board here in the opening inning. Going all the way to the screen, and a run will score. It was ball 4 on the pitch to Ludwig. And Stubbs races in on the wild pitch. 1-0 Cincinnati.
Usually call those, Mark. Usually call them.
Two walks through the first 4 batters for young Mr. Bauer. And here's Scott Rowland with Cozart on at third base and Ryan Ludwig at first. Still only 1 out. Line drive, and was that caught? That is a line drive double play that'll end the inning. A liner that ricocheted off the body of Bauer into the glove of a diving Aaron Hill, and they turn the double play. fluke play denied more than the lone run.
Boy, how often do you see this? A line drive, not necessarily right at the fielder, but off the pitcher, and then fielded on the line without the ball touching the ground right to the second baseman. Can't hit it a whole lot harder than that. Scott Rowland leveled it, centered it, double play. Go figure.
So here we go in the second inning. Johnny Cueto to face Miguel Montero. Justin Upton, then the first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. Strike one to Montero. Had a big time of it last night. 3 hits on base 4 times. Hit a double, a home run, and knocked in 4. Slow roller at Brandon Phillips. 4 in a row set down by Cueto to begin the game. Our game storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Some of the biggest stars in the game went down with injuries, Chris, yesterday. Wrist injury to Jose Bautista, David Ortiz, and Achilles tendon. And, of course, we know all about Joey Votto.
Yeah, those are sluggers that those teams will really miss. Bautista has hit more home runs than anybody over the last 3 years. I think 30 more home runs than anybody else. Where's David Ortiz having a good year right in the center of that Boston Red Sox lineup. It seems like just as the Red Sox just are about to get their entire team back healthy, they're sidetracked again. And the first real challenge from an injury standpoint for the Reds. Yes, they lost Scott Rowland for a while, but they were able to cover that. But when you lose a guy who bats third and is leading the league in a whole bunch of different categories, he's the tough guy to fill in for. But I did like the comments that Dusty Baker made before the ball game when addressing the media about that, especially talking to Jeff Pecoro. You know, saying, I really don't know or care what people outside this locker room are talking about. All we know in here is that we know we can play, and we play as a team.
Brandon Phillips will handle the pop-up behind the bag. 2 out. Well, you know, Chris, that's what leaders do. I mean, nobody wants to follow some guy who's going to be handed bad news, and then all you do is sit around all day and talk about what bad news it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're paid to be the leader, and that is Dusty Baker's job, he's paid to be the leader of this team in uniform. And there are other leaders, of course, the players, the coaching staff. I mean, you want to follow that guy who says, hey, look, I believe there are guys in this clubhouse that can play baseball, and we plan on having those guys play and play well and go win games.
Well, from the big picture, you think, uh-oh, you lose Joey Votto. If you start breaking it down, I mean, the Reds are in their maybe some of the softer part of their schedule. Sometimes that can be deceptive, but they are going to play a lot more teams with worse than 500 records and above 500 records. They've had good pitching all year long, and they don't need to go out and win 3 out of every 4 ball games. I mean, there's no indication really that the Pirates are going to take off and leave the rest of the division, nor are the St. Louis Cardinals. So if you play right around 500 baseball, you're going to be right in the thick of it when Joey Votto is ready to come back.
2-2 on the first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, having a real nice year. 300 batter, 12 home runs, 42 batted in, has 26 doubles. Straight away center field. Stubbs will run it down, and Cueto set down 6 straight to begin the game. Frazier, Heisey, Hannigan coming up. Brought to you by Miller Lite, so stick around for that. And as always, we remind you that Sundays are family days at Great American Ballpark. This Sunday, cheer on the Reds at half price with a Meyer Family Day deal. When one member of the family buys a full price ticket, they will get the option to buy 3 additional tickets at half price. Plus, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger get a kids mini mascot set thanks to our friends from Coca-Cola. 513-381 Reds. Some restrictions do apply. We'll look forward to seeing you this weekend. Brew Crew rolling into town. His 10-game homestand to kick off the second half of the 2012 championship season. Trevor Bauer walked a couple of batters. Had an error behind him, which helped lead to a run. It's in there, strike to Todd Frazier. Todd at 278. Another guy who's having a really nice rookie season. Frazier having better numbers so far than the ballyhooed, of course, Bryce Harper. Frazier far older than the 19-year-old, but still 10 home runs, 30 knocked in, 14 doubles, 5 3-base hits for Frazier. Pirates will be in Colorado again. That's coming up later tonight. Same 2 in Milwaukee. Brewers and the Cardinals. St. Louis rallied late last night, coming away with a 3-2 win. So the Cardinals won, Reds lost, Pirates lost. Reds still with a 1-game lead in the Central, and the Cardinals 3.5 behind. Strike 3, and Frazier knew it.
Pretty good looking pitch right here. Looks like a slider, and he just fools Todd Frazier entirely on this pitch. I'll tell you, from early looks, I mean, you know, Roland hit the ball hard. Phillips did not look good striking out. It doesn't appear like it's easy to pick the ball up off of this young man. We'll see second and third time through if it makes any difference.
Heisey at 281, 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in, has been very hot of late. One and 2 on Heisey. Night game tomorrow night. Don't forget they're giving away the Jay Bruce bobbleheads. And then an afternoon game here on Thursday. Night games Friday and Saturday against the Brewers. And the wrap up to the homestand a day game Sunday. Bottom fell out of that pitch, and that's 3 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer, including the first 2 here in the third.
Kind of got Todd Frazier on a slider, and he got Chris Heisey on a curveball. I mean, he's no fluke. There's no question about that. He's a young man that left high school early, graduated actually as a junior, to decide to start his college career at UCLA early. So he was a 17-year-old freshman, and as a freshman for UCLA, he went 9-3. And the numbers just got better and better after that.
And that was a very impressive 1-2-3 second. As Hannigan taps out to Goldschmidt, we go to the third. Reds lead by a run. It's a game we alluded to earlier, the first ever start in the big leagues for Johnny Cueto when he beat the Diamondbacks, struck out 10, did not allow a run, did not walk a batter. In fact, Johnny Cueto, since making that major league debut, has never lost to the Diamondbacks. Our Farmers Insurance report card, there are the numbers for Cueto against the D-backs. Now, it should be noted, he started against them twice his rookie year, twice in 2009. This is the first time he has pitched against them since '09. And he is a far more established, savvy pitcher now than he was in 2008 or '09. Chris Young, a fly ball into short left center. Stubbs waves off Ludwig, 1 out. We talked about that little bit of dye at the end of Johnny Cueto's beard. He's got it working at the end of those dreadlocks.
Looks like there might be a little too much pollen or too much chlorine in the Terrace Park pool. May want to look into that.
2-0 to Parra.
Boy.
It'll be a tough play here. Phillips can make it, and he got him. What a play by Brandon Phillips each and every night.
Well, they don't like that down there at first base.
Eric Young having to get Parra away from Vic Parapaza, the umpire at first base after that call.
Now we'll take a look at it in slow motion. Vic Carapaza does not have that advantage. Nice play by Phillips, obviously. Boy, hard to tell there. He's got an argument.
Herb Gibson, the Arizona manager, will come trotting back to the dugout. Of course, Gibson, a former great during his playing days, initially with the Tigers. A Michigan native, played both college baseball and was a great college football player at Michigan State. And then won a World Series as a member of the Dodgers. That legendary home run in Game 1 of the '88 World Series against Oakland closer Dennis Eckersley. 2 injured to start the game. That was a year Kirk Gibson was the National League's most valuable player.
I don't believe what I just saw.
It really was amazing. I think that's one of those moments, if you're a baseball fan, you'll always remember where you were when you saw it. I was sitting downtown over on 9th and Elm, the old Channel 5 building. There's a line drive into center field, and that's that. 9 straight set down by Johnny Cueto. Vin Scully calling that one on NBC. She is gone. Reds fans, you know the drill. If a Red hits that Toyota sign during our game tonight, Jim Simpson from Mason, Ohio, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark and register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Zach Jackson examines the Bengals before the team heads off to training camp later this month. Of course, that's here in Cincinnati now. And as always, you can chat with Hall of Famer Hal McCoy during the game. Dial him up right now. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com. Johnny Cueto, Drew Stubbs, Zach Cozart coming up here in the Reds' third inning. Reds without a hit. In fact, neither team with a hit, but the beneficiary of a couple of walks, an error, a wild pitch, thus the 1-0 lead. Well, the Reds, along with Fox Sports Ohio, would love to send out a very, very special happy birthday wish to Lucia Nance. Today, celebrating her 100th birthday, and she is dialed into the game tonight. Lucia Nance, happy birthday, young lady. God bless your heart. 100 years young. Johnny Cueto, 4 hits in 36 at-bats this season. And there's a strike, 2-1.
Now he's ready. His first 4 pitches in this at-bat, he looked like he was waiting for a bus. Not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Gotta like that.
Game plan out there. We'll roll her up the first base line, and Bauer will feed it to Goldschmidt. Chris, let me ask you a question. I made the comment about both these starting pitchers on a very, very hot, humid, muggy night, wearing the long sleeves. Is that a big deal?
I don't think the sleeves make any difference at all. I mean, I would imagine that sometime during the ball game, each of these guys are going to go in. Maybe Bauer won't, but I would imagine Johnny Cueto would probably go in and change his shirt, because they do get heavy. Nowadays, uniforms being, the kind of material they are, the space age material that they use, don't get heavy and weigh so much like they used to. Those old horsehair uniforms, or even just all cotton uniforms, would absorb all that perspiration and sweat, and pretty soon you're carrying around 15 pounds of uniform that you didn't have when you started the ball game. I imagine they're probably going to change their shirt. I wouldn't think it means much tonight.
But I guess the question I was getting at, and now that you've walked us through that, though, what would be the advantage of having a long sleeve shirt on? I mean, if it were a chilly day or a nighttime game where it was a little cooler, you can understand maybe it keeps that arm warmed up, but can you think of an advantage of wearing one?
Yeah, actually, it's a big advantage. You see how much perspiration and sweat is on that arm and in that sleeve, and it's darkened it right there. That's where it's wet. Well, that keeps the sweat from rolling down your arm into your hand and then losing a grip on the baseball.
Hot smash by Stubbs right at Bloomquist, 2 out.
And that really becomes more of a problem on a hot day than just about anything else. Yeah, fatigue sets in after a while. You want to stay hydrated and do all those things, but it's hard to grip a baseball when you're sweating so much. Your hands are perspiring, there's sweat dripping off your brow. it's coming down your arms, and that's probably why they're wearing a sleeve. I know that I always used to wear a 3/4 sleeve like that, maybe just cut off the last few inches of the wrist. That's about where Bauer is. He's got a kind of a short one there.
A little bit like that pitch, a little short.
You don't see too many that don't make it to the dirt. If
Mark Mallory did that, they'd make fun of him on national TV.
Forever. But could Mark Mallory come right back with a changeup on the black? There we go. That one did not register, by the way. All right.
I tell you what, though, he handled it like a champ. I'll give it up to him for that. He wasn't afraid to go on all the late night shows and took, of course, that opportunity to sell his city. We had a little fun with it.
Why not?
Eric Davis is standing there behind home plate waving, hey, I'm over here. 2-2 on Cozart. 2 down, none on. Reds with a 1-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the third. And Bauer to the plate. There's another one that bounces up there. Full count.
Yeah, that ball bounced well in front of home plate, but Zach Cozart nearly swung at it. That's how hard it is, it looks like, to pick this kid's release point up. Pitch number 47 coming up.
Third walk issued in the game by Trevor Bauer. That ends a string of 6 in a row set down by the rookie right-hander, and the inning will continue for Brandon Phillips, who struck out his first time up. Strike one on Phillips. Bauer has walked 3, fanned 3, not allowed a hit. First 2 batters of the game reached in the Cincinnati first. A walk to Stubbs, an error by Drew, allowing Cozart to get to first. They pulled off the double steal. And a wild pitch on ball 4 to the cleanup batter Ludwig brought Stubbs in from third for the lone run thus far.
You wonder if this might be a stolen base situation for the Reds. Cozart had previously been the leadoff guy. If he gets thrown out with 2 outs, you got Brandon Phillips, a former leadoff guy, leading off the next inning. Just may pick a pitch where he bounces the ball in the dirt.
There he goes, and it's swung on and fouled back. That's a couple of pitches already in his first 2 at-bats that I'm sure Phillips is a little bit upset with himself about missing. Not swinging and missing, but not driving it somewhere into the field of play.
I think he looks more perplexed than angry at himself or frustrated. And perplexed is because I don't think he's picking the ball up. He swung underneath both of them. The swing and a miss that struck him out in the first time, he swung underneath that one. So what he's reading is that fastball sinking a little more than it actually is sinking. That'll work.
Well, you ask yourself the question all the time. Chris, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. You're ahead of the batter, 0-2, 2 outs in the inning. Why even bother to throw over there to put a runner in scoring positions that something like that happens?
I don't know.
And it's not like it's Bauer being a rookie. Well, we see guys that have been in the big leagues for 10 years do it.
Yeah, you're right about that, but that throw over may have been called from the bench. I mean, it's a popular thing nowadays to assign the bench coach the responsibility of trying to keep the runners close at first base by calling a pitch out, calling a throw over, calling a step off. You run the risk of having nothing but a robot out there pitching for you.
And now that one thrown all the way to the backstop. So with a count of 0-2 and 2 outs in the inning with a runner at first, now it's a ball and 2 strikes, and that same runner is standing at third base. And certainly Cozart being reminded by Mark Berry, hey, look, be alive down here at third base. We've seen this guy airmail one of the screen. We've seen him throw a number of pitches in front of the dirt around home plate.
Does he have one more in him? He can get a big lead down there, Cozart can, because the third baseman's playing very deep. There it is. Or Montero's a guy that's going to need an ice bath after this game.
Two and two now on Brandon Phillips. Check swing, fouled off out of play. Once again, a 2-2 on Brandon Phillips. Cozart at third. And a roller foul. Here you have a pitcher on the mound who is not allowed a hit through the first 2 2/3 innings. And his next pitch in his game is going to be number 54, a number of extended at-bats. Even at-bats resulting in outs. Another breaking ball in the dirt, smothered by Montero. 3-2 on Brandon Phillips. We just wonder, with everything that he does before a game on a hot night, and much was made about his major league debut on a similar weather night down in Atlanta. And many who watched the Diamondbacks in that game couldn't help but believe Bauer was completely exhausted. Here's ball 4. And it's not sitting here second guessing or wondering about what he has to do for himself to get ready for a game. If that's what he does, that's what he does. But what cannot be denied is it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort. And it's 95 degrees outside.
Well, there's another guy out there in the major leagues who has over the years been pretty good, having an off year this year, that has been termed kind of wacky as far as his warm-ups go, and that would be Tim Lincecum. But by contrast, Lincecum, instead of showing up an hour and a half before the ball game, he goes out to warm up about 10 minutes before the game begins, throws 10 or 15 pitches and says, I'm good. I don't want to waste anything in the bullpen getting guys out. I need to save those for when the game actually begins.
Fourth walk of the game, second walk in this inning.
But let's face it about the warming up part. The majority of it is mental. You're trying to get yourself into a place mentally where you know that you're completely loose physically and that you're mentally prepared to get the game going. There is such a thing as being effectively wild. That is a close one.
And probably safe to assume we'll see a breaking ball down and away from Ludwig here on pitch number 2 after that one up and in.
Well, he may not want to throw that because the last 2 he's thrown have been bouncing the dirt.
High fly ball into left field. And this baby will fly a long way, brother. So take that, says Ryan Ludwig. Cincinnati.
Maybe if Trevor Bauer had it to do over again, he would throw the curveball right here, but he throws a high inside fastball. Ludwig, after being brushed back and knocked down, stays right in there and unjams him for 50.
First hit of the night and a big one for Ludwig. It comes with Cozart and Phillips aboard in front of him. Strike 1 on Scott Rowland for Ludwig. That's now 14 home runs and 39 runs batted in. For a guy who struggled so mightily during the month of April and really the first week or 2 of May, but my oh my, since then he has continued to get better and better and better, and has become a legitimate factor right in the middle of the Reds lineup.
Guy shows up to play, I'll tell you that. His teammates love him. And that is the way you pay back a guy who knocks you down.
There's a couple of real good guys right there carrying on a little bit. Ludwig and Miguel Cairo. I'm not sure if that smile ever comes off of Cairo's face.
Not while he's got a uniform on.
Yep.
That one got Jerry Lane. Jerry's been beat up here at Great American Ballpark this year. Maybe you remember back in June, Devin Mesoraco shattered his bat, and the barrel of the bat came around and hit Jerry Lane in the side of the head. Left the ball game and put him on the umpire DL for a short period of time. That wasn't the first time. Happened also back in 2008 when he got hit by a foul tip in a game that he was umpiring behind the plate. Royals and the Yankees. Sustained a concussion in that. And 2 years previous to that, he got hit by a barrel of the bat in the jaw and was carted off the field. That was in August when he was doing a Braves Marlins game. And so a longtime veteran umpire from Pikeville, Kentucky. He's still out there gutting it out.
Fastball runs inside to Rowland. This will be the 10th pitch in this at bat. And pitch number 67 in the game for Trevor Bauer. There'll be an 11th pitch. Bauer against Rowland. And a 12th.
Good in the great now.
3-2 once more on Rowland. And he draws the walk. That is 5 of them in the game for Bauer. 3 of them in this inning. An inning in which he has thrown nearly 40 pitches. Charles Nagy, one-time very good major league pitcher. His best seasons, of course, on some of those outstanding Cleveland Indians teams during the 1990s. He is the Arizona pitching coach under Kirk Gibson. We invite you to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game. We call it Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio. Of course, no checklist from Chris Welsh tonight, but he'll be right back at it undoubtedly tomorrow night.
Or the next night.
I don't think we're doing a Thursday game on a tube, are we?
Doesn't keep me from doing the checklist.
Would he sit home in front of the mirror and do the checklist?
No mirror needed. I put that jacket on. I have a special tie I wear on Thursdays. Sounds odd, and it probably is.
No, in fact, I'm glad to hear you're still hard at work.
It's kind of therapy. I'm having that too.
You wear it to therapy. And there's strike one to Todd Frazier. You know, my dad was very excited, wondering how you were doing these days. He'd been out of town since the All-Star break. He'll be back in the radio booth. And many of you have asked me, as I bumped into you around town, and Kroger saw a few folks earlier today where they were wondering, hey, when's your dad coming back to work? He'll be back Friday. But he was especially concerned and wanting to know, Chris Welsh, how you were doing. He always is. You two are quite the pair together.
You know, let me read between the lines of that.
There is no reading between the lines.
He wants to make sure that I have set up the golf that he has assigned me to set up.
Nope. All he wanted to know is how you were doing.
And the answer is yes, I have.
There's a check swing, and that is all for Frazier. With 2 outs and nobody on. A walk, a throwing error, a wild pitch, another walk, and then after knocking down Ryan Ludwig, he bangs one of the seats. America, a place where America's youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. If you'd like to learn more, visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Take a look at our AT&T trivia question for tonight, Mr. Welsh. You've been on quite a roll here. Can't stand these questions that start since 1950.
Yeah.
Which starting pitcher holds the Reds record for most consecutive innings pitched without allowing a home run? Johnny working on 62 consecutive innings. Since he has allowed a home run, he's given up 5 overall this year and 100 and now 23 and a third inning.
I'm going to say Jim Maloney.
You know what? The more and more you learn about Reds history, that's a great guess.
I mean, if it's not Bucky Walters, and it's since 1950, I think his heyday was before then. Jim Maloney. Or I could say Jim O'Toole. Saw the old lefty yesterday at the Mike Mathis Golf Classic.
What a guy.
Kings Island. What a great guy.
Great family. I remember the late, great Ron Santo. Of course, he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame this coming weekend, along with Barry Larkin and Tim McCarver. And you know, Ron Santo, one of the things that stood out in his career was that story about Jim Maloney getting married and then starting the next day on the mound at Wrigley Field for the Reds against the Cubs.
That is a great story.
He didn't last very long in that game.
In fact, it probably takes longer to tell the story than it did to pitch that game.
That's about right. First strikeout of the game for Cueto. Santo just thought that was just unbelievable. And there's no more likable guy you'll ever meet than Jim O'Toole. He is something. Of course, that's true with so many of the former Reds, Chris, we're privileged to have gotten to know through the years. I mean, heck, Lee May, he almost single-handedly stole the show at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony again this year.
Steals the show every year at a Reds fantasy camp.
There's a base hit by a drawn-in Scott Rowland, the first base runner of the game for the Diamondbacks against Johnny Cueto. It comes 1 out into the 4th.
And of course, Lee May watches us all the time.
He does?
Yeah. Every night. In fact, he texted me right after our open. He knows this is Bow Tie Tuesday. He's never going to be late tuning in. And he asked me, what farmer's market did you get that jacket from? It looks like a Cobb salad. Love you, Mo.
Well, we acknowledged his wife, Terry, that night. What do you say they've been married? 40, 50 years, something like that? Probably 40. God bless her heart.
Right to heaven.
First time the entire game Johnny Cueto has pitched out of the stretch, and his first 2 pitches working out of it missed down and away to Aaron Hill. Now Cueto, as he likes to do when perhaps things aren't going his way, and heck, he's only allowed his first base runner of the night, but he's fallen behind a batter here. 2-0. He'll take a little bit of extra time. Runner goes, pitch taken, throw down to second, not even close. See you later.
You know, Willie Bloomquist is not afraid to try a stolen base. That is the 9th time he's been thrown out. He's got 6 successful stolen bases. I mean, there's a point at which, especially against the best pitcher in the National League at shutting down the running game, that why would you even try? This is what he gets with a good jump.
Diamondbacks have been thrown out 32 times this year attempting to steal. That's second most in the National League. And as Chris mentioned, 9 of the 32 on Bloomquist. So right back out of the regular windup. And it bounces up there to Hill, and that's a walk.
By the way, it's 50 years.
It is 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about Lee May and his wife Terry. 50 years. Wow. And you can tell they're still very much in love. They love being around one another. Just a wonderful couple, wonderful family. The kids, all great kids, grandkids.
Life is good.
Indeed. Foul ball by Miguel Montero. Oh, and 2 to Montero. Cardinals and the Brewers just underway. Milwaukee coming to bat. Scoreless game, last of the first inning. Giants a 4-0 lead over Atlanta. That game in the fourth. Cubbies and Marlins underway in Chicago. Big series tonight. Granted, it's only the start of the third week in July, but the New York Mets, losers of 4 in a row, have slipped 6 back of Washington in the East. They begin a series tonight. Foul tip by Montero, still 2-2. And they're already in the 6th inning. They started the same time we did. Here we are in the 4th. They're in the 6th with the Nationals leading 1-0. Cueto all of a sudden struggling a bit with command.
Yeah, it looks like he sped things up a little bit, and his windup is quicker than his arm right now, and he's missing the ball up in the zone.
Well, trying to pick up this final out here in the 4th inning. Last 2 batters, he's allowed a single and a walk. He got it caught stealing in there. And Roland unable to handle the one hopper off the bat of Montero. That'll be an error on Scott Rowland. 3 consecutive Diamondbacks have reached. How important is that caught stealing looking right now?
Ball looks like it takes kind of a funny hop right there, and Rowland gets handcuffed. Those aren't easy plays when a left-hander hits it to the third baseman or a right-hander hits it to the first baseman.
So Cueto still in search of the final out here in the top of the 4th inning. Told you before the series began last night. Statistically, the best defensive teams in the National League are the Reds and the Diamondbacks, in that order. Here's Justin Upton, 2 on, 2 out. Broken bat, foul ball. And Justin looking for a new piece of lumber.
And our Performance Honda Exmo will show you that ball right out on the end of the bat. 2 ways to break a bat, one on the end, one on the handle.
White's cool shot.
It won't be long before Major League Baseball ends up having some kind of a substance they put on the handle and keep that bat from shattering like that. At least flying, not from breaking, but from actually flying into pieces.
Well, I understand it's already out there.
It is.
The Major League Baseball just yet to approve it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Where did you first hear about that? You were the one, I think, that brought it up one night.
I want to say I was speaking with the batting coach from the Minnesota Twins. That was...
It was about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, about a month and a half ago when the Twins were in here.
In fact,
we talked about it because it was right after the Jerry Lane incident where he got hit with the barrel of the bat fouled off by Devin Mesoraco.
Force out at second ends the inning. Reds still with a 4-0 lead. By JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Looks like it's rolling right up Fifth Street right there. Get a ticket, arrive early tomorrow. Don't forget. If you're one of the first 25,000 fans through the gates, you get a Jay Bruce bobblehead thanks to Chiquita. Reds and the D-backs. Tickets are available, so come on down and carry home a Jay Bruce bobblehead. Well, a very short night, unproductive night for Trevor Bauer. Granted, he only allowed 1 hit, but he walked 5 and gave up 4 runs. Now it's Josh Colmenter, who's made a couple of starts this season and did a real nice job for Arizona as a starter a year ago. Comes right over the top.
Colmenter, a second-year pitcher, was a very good pitcher last year. Finished in the top 5 in National League Rookie of the Year balloting. He's a strike thrower, too. This guy's all over the strike zone.
Appeal down to first base on a check swing by Heisey. He did not go around. 1-1 to Heisey, who struck out his only at bat tonight. He'll be followed by Ryan Hannigan and Johnny Cueto. Reds 4, Diamondbacks nothing. Reds took advantage of a couple of walks, an error, a wild pitch to get on the board in the first. A pair of 2-out walks in the third in front of a Ryan Ludwig 3-run home run to left field. Johnny Cueto's allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout through 4 scoreless innings. Heisey out swinging for the second straight time. 1 out.
You're right, Tom. He does come right over the top. And when you come over the top like that, you ensure that you don't have a lot of side-to-side movement unless you cut the ball. but it's an angle that you don't see a lot, and he's a big guy anyway. Coleman is.
Coleman, another one of those guys out of the Mid-American Conference. It is amazing in a region of the country where, of course, your college season is going to be considerably shorter. All the elements. And we talked about it earlier this year when a handful of players have come through town out of the Mid-American Conference. Coleman from Central Michigan University. Grew up in Homer, Michigan. Chris mentioned Coleman, 24 starts last year, 31 games overall, a 10-game winner, 10-game loser. There's a drive in a deep left center field. Did Hannigan get enough of this thing? It's up against the wall and bounces over the wall for a ground rule double.
Got it a whole bunch. Ryan Hannigan did. On some particular nights, this ball probably would have reached the berm out there in center field. Tonight, a double will do as he just hops over the wall. And Ryan Hannigan is safe at second. He is safe and secure.
New York light. One out, runner at second base, and Johnny Cueto lets it rip, strike one. Coleman has made 7 starts this year. Very high ERA. He's pitched well in this role out of the bullpen. He's allowed just 3 earned runs in 22 2/3 innings, spanning 10 relief appearances. But I think based on the year he had last year and all the numbers coming up through the minor leagues, Chris, it's hard to believe that he's not a part of their regular rotation.
Well, he started a lot of games last year, 24 of them. Had a good earned run average, down the low 3s. Especially after losing Daniel Hudson, you'd think that they would have an opportunity. He might be one of those guys that can do that role of swing starter. 7 starts this year, most of the appearances as a reliever.
That'll back up Upton, hit very hard by Cueto. Tagging and advancing on at third is Hannigan, 2 out.
Well, Upton went back on that in kind of a nonchalant fashion. I mean, he could have burned his way back to the spot, stood there, set himself, and maybe prevented Ryan Hannigan from moving to third base with this little extra hustle. Johnny Cueto saying, I knew I was going to, he was playing me at a shallow like that, I'd move that runner up.
Now Stubbs has walked, stolen a base, scored a run. Hit a 1-hopper right at the drawn in Willie Bloomquist at third his last time up, and Bloomquist again on the edge of the grass. Same old's true for Goldschmidt over on the first base side. Stubbs not quite sure about that call by Jerry Lane. It sends it to a ball and 2 strikes.
Boy, if you're Johnny Cueto and you saw that, and Josh Coleman, and you see that, you're going to live right down there at the bottom of that strike zone. Way down there.
1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And he started. Did he go? Yes, on the appeal to Carapazin. That's the way the 4th comes to an end. A hit, a man left. We move to the 5th. Reds 4, Diamondbacks nothing.
And dropping off the game ball today is a very special person, Megan Vogel from West Liberty Salem High School. Now, her story has been making the rounds on the internet and on news shows, and I am with her now in one of the suites. And her story is this. This past weekend at the state championships Division III track, she won the 1,600-meter event. Congratulations on that, by the way. Then her next event was the 3,200. When she's coming to the finish, about 20 meters from the finish, one of her competitors, Arden McMath, collapsed in front of her, and rather than running by her, she helped her up and helped her across the finish line. Now, this story has been making the rounds, and you've been getting a lot of attention. What made you do it?
It was just kind of my initial reaction. I knew that any of the girls in that field would have done the same for me, so I just wanted to do that for Arden.
And you have been getting quite the attention, right?
Yes, a lot of attention from it. So
interviews and internet, the whole deal.
Yeah, I've probably done, I'd say, 6 or 7 TV interviews and countless radio and newspaper interviews. So.
What was Arden's reaction afterwards?
She was really thankful. She was pretty in and out. She didn't have enough sodium in her body, so it kind of took her a while to get back with it. But after she was back with it, she was real thankful, and her coaches were, saying thank you, and they were all really, really nice people.
And one last thing, after she dropped off the game ball, she had a little moment with Dusty Baker. And what'd you give him?
I gave him a toothpick.
And Scott Rowland makes the play for the first out of the inning. Are you going to college, Tom Brenneman wants to know?
Yeah, I'm going to...
You're only a junior right now, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be a senior. I have no clue where I'm going to go, but I want to go into education.
That would be awesome. So, good trooper here. Sportsmanship all the way, Tom and Chris. A very special story. Megan Vogel, and we salute her.
It was an unbelievable story. It is an unbelievable story. I thought for some reason she was a senior because... she obviously got all the attention for first winning the state championship in the other event. And then what she did to help another young lady is just, and good for her mom and dad.
Yeah.
They raised one mighty fine young lady.
Well-spoken young lady, too.
She might have to help Jim Day walk back from there, back up here to the broadcast booth. It's hot night for the big fella. And he's not been feeling well. I was really worried about him sincerely before the game today. Jim not feeling very well tonight.
Is he taking in enough fluids? Do you think?
Well, I mean, you'd like to think so. There's a drive in a deep left field. And it will be played off the wall by Ludwig. Here comes a throw in his second baseman, just a little bit offline. Man, hits have been few and far between for former National League All-Star Chris Young since he came off the disabled list.
That's a hanging breaking ball. You can see the reaction from Johnny Cueto. Throws his arm up at the very end. In fact, when that ball came back in, he kind of pats himself in the chest and says, I'll take responsibility for that. Old-fashioned cement mixer up across the letters. They usually go a long way.
Number 8 batter, Gerardo Parra, was thrown out on a brilliant play made by Brandon Phillips back in the third inning. Parra felt he beat the throw. Parra, one of those fiery, energetic sorts. Probably best described as if he plays for your team, you love him. If he plays against you, you don't like him much. Hard-nosed player.
Well, he's one of these kind of guys that just hustles all the time. Ground ball, you see him go halfway and then burst into even a harder pace to try to run out a routine ground ball. A little dynamo. He didn't think he was going to get a lot of playing time this year. In fact, he probably has not gotten as much as he thought he even would with Jason Kubel coming over. Of course, Kubel is on the not on the disabled list, but he's day-to-day right now with a hamstring pull. In fact, we thought we might see him in the lineup tonight. Parra's a nice little left-handed bat.
0-2 now to Parra. Cueto a check of the runner Young, and it's fouled off out of play. You can see some of that fire from Parra. I mean, you know, he'll throw a guy out second base, third base from the outfield. He'll pretend like he's fired a gun to cut the guy down, and so he'll ruffle a few feathers. But you got to like his intensity.
Won a Gold Glove last year. Got already a handful of assists this year, somewhere like 5 or 6 anyway.
Of course, Kubel, I think, leads the planet in outfield assists this season. But Kubel can only sit and watch so far in this series after injuring that hamstring in Chicago. First series after the All-Star break. A lot of people felt Kubel should have been on the All-Star team. 15 home runs, 60 runs batted in. And has hit 11 home runs and driven in 36 in the last 31 games in which he has played. Two and two to Parra. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. City finally trying to calm down a little bit after weekend series with the Cardinals in here. Of course, on the heels of 10 days of the World Choir Games. Tens of thousands of folks from continents all over the world. 3-2 now to Parra, just getting out of town. Cueto thought he had strike 3 with a fastball and it misses. Well, now all of a sudden these last couple of innings, Cueto has stumbled around a little bit. He allowed the 1-out single to Bloomquist, who was thrown out trying to steal. He walked the following batter. Montero reached on an error. He got out of the inning, and now after 1 out, a double and a walk.
Well, really the only thing to worry about, I think, is this inning when he laid that hanging breaking ball up there to Chris Young and then walks Parra. I know one thing that they've been talking to Johnny about a little bit more is not to throw quite so many sliders, to rely a little bit more on the 2 pitches that got him here, which would be the fastball and the changeup. He still has a very good changeup. In fact, you know, if you use that a little bit more, it makes your fastball even better. But he's had such good success, especially with that changeup coming out of that delivery of his, that he's fallen in love with that pitch. But he's hung a couple tonight, one including that one that was banged off the wall.
Kirk Gibson is going to allow Colementor to bat. We are only in the 5th inning.
He's going to bunt.
Reds with a 5-0 lead. And bunted. Well enough to advance the runners.
I'll tell you, that's a play right there. Johnny Cueto is as quick as they come. And he came off that mound right now. And if he just turns and fires at third base, you're going to get that runner. I mean, it's a force play over there. Take a look at it and see if the timing of it. Of course, not that great of a lead out there, but Cueto gets the ball, and the runner, as you see, is still 6 or 7 paces from third base. All he's got to do is come up ready to turn and throw to third. You make that decision before you field the ball. But you've got a 4-0 lead. You're thinking, all right, I'll just take the automatic out and take care of the next guy.
And the next guy is Stephen Drew, who's bounced out to Cueto and struck out. Cueto's only struck out the 1 batter tonight. Beautiful breaking ball, knee high on the outside edge. 1-1 to Drew. Reds got a run in the first inning on a wild pitch. And after a couple of walks with 2 outs in the third, got a 3-run home run by Ryan Ludwig. First real big threat of the night for Arizona comes here in the 5th. A 1-out double followed by a walk. And after a sacrifice, putting 2 runners in scoring position, it's 2-1 on Drew. The 2-1 pitch is fouled off out of play on a fastball to the third base side to even it up. Brought it up last night. Stephen Drew, one of 3 brothers in the Drew family, not only to make it to the major leagues, but all 3 #1 draft picks. This more than likely will be the final year for Stephen Drew as an Arizona Diamondback. Free agent at the end of the year, now to 2-2. Full count.
Well, not necessary to pipe a fastball right here with first base open.
Crowd trying to get behind Cueto to finish off Drew and the Diamondbacks in the 5th. And they appeal. Nope. They're loaded.
It was not a fastball. It was a breaking ball. He tried to feather it in on the outside corner to see if Drew might be fooled by it. And he was fooled by it, but he was able to keep that swing from committing. Some of the umpires sitting in the stands thought that he went on that. Brian Hannigan wants to check down there to third base, but no go.
Well, now all of a sudden Arizona with a legitimate chance with a base hit to be right back in this thing. It's only a 4-0 spread. We are only in the 5th inning. But they have him loaded for Willie Bloomquist. 1 out of 2 in the game. He singled his last time up. First pitch swinging, pops it up. So thank you very much. Reds will bat in the bottom of the 5th, still leading 4-0. On the Reds, they take on the Brewers, and naturally after the game we have post-game fireworks this week featuring a country soundtrack. That ought to be nice. Call 381 Reds. Visit select Kroger locations or visit Reds.com. You're always up for a little country music there, Creepy.
I'm ready for it.
One of our very own Cincinnatian, Kevin Youkilis, back as a member of the White Sox in Boston. A home run tonight against John Lester. Well, Youkilis has taken the high road in the on-again, off-again saga that he had earlier this season with first-year manager Bobby Valentine. Valentine, you may remember, had some comments that were not taken well at all by Youkilis early in the year. Dustin Pedroia, among others, were not happy about the comments. And then it looked like they had put it all behind him. Well, apparently, Bobby Valentine had to say a few more words about Youkilis not being popular with some of his teammates, how he took it too personally, some of the things that Valentine had said early in the year. All of that before Youkilis even came into town. And he has not said a word about it, or at least did not up until today. Let that bat do the talking.
Yeah, I like that about Youkilis. And he can talk with that bat, too.
Two, 3, and 4 in the Reds batting order. Cozart, Phillips, and Ludwig against reliever Josh Colmenter. Pitching behind Trevor Bauer, who lasted only 3 innings. Walked 5. Only gave up 1 hit. But the hit was a 3-run home run by Ryan Ludwig. Base hit by Cozart. Third time he's been on, and Aaron Walker now a single.
Zach really needed a hit right here, and he gets one on the inner part of the plate, drops the bat head. Last night, Wade Miley really pitched him inside. They pitched him very effectively. Took an 0 for last night with a strikeout overall. Hit a ground ball double play. You let him get his hands out a little bit, especially on a low pitch. And he's got some pop in that bat.
Now Brandon Phillips. He has struck out, walked, and scored a run. Four runs, 3 hits for the Reds. They've committed 1 error, left 3 men on base. Arizona shut out on 2 hits by Johnny Cueto. A pair of errors on defense. And the D-backs have left 5. All 5 runners left on base in the last 2 innings. Now the 1-1 on Brandon, and it's down the right field line. Out of play. Well, if you're playing along with us during our game tonight, go to foxsportsohio.com right now and choose which player will be the first to strike out in the 8th inning. If you're not playing along, well, by all means, join us on foxsportsohio.com every Tuesday night throughout the year. Winners will be announced in Reds Live, the post-game version. We'd like to thank all of you that have been tuned into Reds baseball all year long. Saw a story early today where Reds television ratings for this season, second highest in Major League Baseball so far, right here on Fox Sports Ohio, and I mean fractionally second to the Detroit Tigers. Line into center field, caught by Young, and that's a first out in the inning. So we thank all of you for watching Reds baseball. It's been about 2-3 years in a row. It's what happens in 2010, Chris, when you win a divisional championship. But even last year, the Reds had the second highest TV ratings in all of baseball, and number 2 again right now. And they keep playing good baseball. Would not be a surprise to see us end up number 1.
Well, they're an exciting team to watch.
Yep.
And we enjoy every day coming down here and bring the games up to you.
So thank all of you for letting us be a part of your night every now and again. Apparently a lot more than every now and again. Ball 1 to Ryan Ludwig. He clubbed that 3-run home run deep into left field in the 3rd inning, scoring Cozart and Phillips in front of him. Coleman working in his 2nd inning after Bauer. He allowed 1 hit, had a couple of strikeouts in the 4th, and a single to Cozart before getting him out here in the 5th. Right on the inside corner for strike 2. As you know, the Reds are going to be without Joey Votto following knee surgery earlier this morning. I'd imagine Joey's watching the game right now. Joey, hope you're doing all right.
Certainly are.
Kick back, taking it easy, and
I'm sure he is.
Hope you're feeling okay, and as soon as they give you that green light, be right in there at rehab.
Which is probably tomorrow.
Well, I think that's pretty much a slam dunk.
If not already.
He's got to make sure that somebody can get out and walk his dog, Maris, every single day. And Joey loves that dog. Probably snuggled up next to Joey right about now watching the ball game. Glad to have Dad home for a change at night. Swing and a miss, and Ludwig gone swinging. 4 strikeout. I beg your pardon, 3rd for Coleman.
Yeah, that strikeout pitch for Coleman is a slider. He got Brandon Phillips on a slider, a line drive, and that one to Ludwig right there was a slider as well. Excuse me, he got Heisey on a slider on a strikeout, and then he got that on Ludwig as well.
Rolling a tough luck double play out, ending the 1st inning. If you didn't see it, you will. When the Reds had runners on the corners, a run home already in the 1st inning against Bauer, thanks to a couple of walks, an error, a stolen base, a wild pitch brought in the 1st run of the game, and then Roland came up there with runners at 1st and 3rd. And if you didn't see it, hang on 1 minute. Quite rare indeed, the double play and the way it ended that opening inning. Here it is.
You don't see this every day. Line drive up the middle, off the pitcher, then right to the second baseman on a fly. The throw to second and tag in the bag didn't have anything to do with the play. Finally, they double up the runner at first with the throw to Goldsmith, who tags the bag. Seen some funny plays the last couple of nights. That one tonight was unusual. The one last night with Bill Bray, the wild pitch that got by the catcher. And he didn't think a throw was coming. All of a sudden it appeared in his glove, and he puts the tag on Montero as he tries to score from third. That was an odd play.
That was about as odd a play as I can ever remember. I mean,
it was
he throws the ball.
Intentional walk.
Yeah.
And he throws it in the dirt. And he doesn't realize that the ball's going to be coming or the runner will be coming. And he tags out Montero for the third out of the inning.
And even after he made the tag and then started to walk back to the dugout, it was all like he was walking in a dream. The look on his face, everything happened so fast, and I mean, I don't know how else to describe that thing. It was really weird. Three-two to Roland, and it is ball four. First walk given up by Colementor since coming on, so now the Reds have two aboard for Frazier. I mean, look at Bray. He doesn't even realize the runner's coming. Hannigan gives him the ball, the tag, and then just trying to shake out the cobwebs.
You know what you hope you have as a reliever, other than a good arm and a nice breaking ball, is a short memory. You want to be able to. The guys that I knew who were the best short relievers, Johnny Franco, Jeff Reardon, guys like that, Goose Gossage, they come to the ballpark every day with a blank page.
Been a rough night for Todd Frazier. Called out on strikes against Bauer his first time up, then struck out swinging the final batter Bauer faced in the third. 1-1. Cozart started the inning with a single. Colementor getting out on Phillips and Ludwig before the walk to Roland. 1-2 on Todd. Swung on and in the air down the right field line and amongst the fans. It remains a ball and two strikes on Frazier. Todd starting in place of Joey Votto now for a second consecutive game, and he might get used to playing down there quite a bit.
No, he keeps swinging the bat, he'll be down there. I mean, this is an opportunity. Every time something like this happens to a ball club where you lose a regular player, an everyday player, even a superstar, it opens the door for somebody else.
Reds strand two. We are creeping along through five. Reds lead 4-0. Here on Fox Sports Ohio, Chris Welsh will break it all down along with Jeff Pecoro and Jim Day, part of Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Gave you a little while to think about our AT&T trivia question tonight. You go back to 1915, which starting pitcher for the Reds holds the record for consecutive innings pitched without allowing a home run. There you go, Creeper. You got it right. 126 in a third innings by the great Jim Maloney.
That's amazing. Of course, that was between 1967 and 68. Wasn't it in 69 that they lowered the mound?
They did.
Of course, Bob Gibson had the incredible year, 1968.
He wasn't alone.
Yeah.
But he was the best.
Of course, that was back in the day when ballparks were rather big. Lights weren't nearly as good as they are right now. And it was much more commonplace for pitchers to pitch inside, I mean way inside. You looked at them funny, a hard thrower like Maloney or Gibson, Drysdale, Stan Williams, knock you off the plate and then stare you down. No warnings, no ejections, nobody charging the mound.
3, 4, and 5 in the Arizona batting order against Johnny Cueto, who's allowed but 3 base runners in the 4th inning, 1 on an error. A couple of walks and a hit. Arizona left him loaded in the last inning. Overall, 2 hits surrendered tonight by the Reds ace. 2-2 on Aaron Hill. Turn that right back around. A 94-mile-per-hour fastball banged into center field. First hit tonight for Hill.
Well, only 84 pitches for Johnny Cueto, but I imagine after that long inning in the 5th, a couple of runners on base in the 4th, they're going to begin to monitor him a little closer.
Hooked into right field. Racing back and able to track it down is Heisey. Well, Montero homered into the 1st inning in right field, into the 1st row of the seats in right field last night. Just a bit short this time. Sawed off is Upton. He broke a bat his last time up. And apparently that one stayed intact. Strike 1 to Justin Upton. Brought it up last night. Upton began the year, last couple of years, batting in the number 3 hole in the Diamondbacks lineup. They just recently dropped him to the 5 spot. Former number 1 pick. Very athletic, very talented, dynamic young player. Same age as Jay Bruce, both only 25. But it has been such a disappointing year for Upton. There's a lot of talk that he could be available in a trade. In fact, Kevin Towers, the general manager of the Diamondbacks, has already sat down with Upton just to let him know that he will talk to anybody about anybody. And Kevin Towers told Upton, he said, look, all those years I was general manager in San Diego, every blue moon, they would call about Trevor Hoffman. He said, I'd listen, but I never traded him. Slugging numbers way down. 31 home runs a year ago, 88 runs batted in. It's one of those kind of players, though, where if you're the general manager, and it was best described to me about a pitcher, but you could say the same thing about a position player like Upton. That one lined into left field, a base hit. That if you trade him, you have to be prepared to understand that he might go on and win a most valuable player award. He might go on and win a couple of most valuable player awards after you've traded him. There's Kevin Towers, longtime general manager in San Diego, 3 years now in Arizona. Completely helped turn around his Diamondback franchise from when he took the job. They had lost over 90 games. They won over 90 a year later en route to the National League West crown. Now Goldschmidt, as the Diamondbacks for the third straight inning are knocking on the door. Fastball in there, strike one. Cueto jumps ahead, 0-2 with 2 on and 1 out.
Yeah, have you noticed how Johnny Cueto's dialed it up a couple of miles an hour? We've seen this just time and time again. The new mature Johnny Cueto doesn't go out there firing at 94 at the top of the velocity level right away early in the ball game. He waits until he needs it. Those last 2 pitches have been the 2 best fastballs he has thrown all night.
Oh, 2 now on Goldschmidt. Struck him out and came back with gas at 94.
Now let's look at this again. Pitch by pitch. Good old-fashioned country hardball right here for Johnny Cueto. 94 right down the middle. 94 again in on the hands, and that time Goldschmidt way late on that one. That's our Mazda pitch by pitch. Simple and right at you.
So now Chris Young, he's flied to center and doubled off the wall in left field on a hanging breaking ball his last time up. That one had some tilt on it and just missed a little bit low and away to the right-handed batting Arizona center fielder Chris Young. Well, we were talking about Upton. Young, another one of those guys. It's just so hard to figure. You know, when you're any Major League Baseball team, you're looking for those guys, Chris, you can just count on. I mean, the Reds have one guy right now that you just know. You don't take it for granted. But when you find that guy that you know you can plug in and they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and for the Reds, of course, that would be Votto. Brandon Phillips is pretty close to that now. 1-2 on Young. Bruce working to become that kind of player. But here were the Diamondbacks. You know, the 2 guys that they really have built this entire team around. Young, he's gone from 1 year, 85 batted in. The next year he knocks in 42. 2 years ago knocks in 91. Last year knocks in 71.
That's kind of mirrors the win-loss totals of the Diamondbacks over the last few years. They've been very much up and down.
Fastball just missing the outside corner.
They went from last to first from 2010 to 2011. Went from 65 wins to 94, something like that.
Do the numbers a significant drop? Even when the team had a better year last season for Young, and very poor numbers this year. 2-2 pitch on Young, and Cueto will back off the rubber.
Well, his success in this at bat so far has been the 2 best fastballs he's thrown all night.
All right, Chris, what do you think Ryan Hannigan is visiting Johnny Cueto about here before this 2-2?
I think if they're talking about obvious this pitch and the next one, if he happens to miss this and go 3-2. He's thrown 2 fastballs right by Young. Do you want to continue to climb the ladder? Or do you feel like you've got a good feel of your breaking ball? And I think it all lies with Johnny Cueto and not Ryan Hannigan. Because Cueto's the guy that has to throw the pitch. He's got to believe that the pitch he throws is the right one in this situation.
2-2. Try to get him a chase.
Change up.
Diamondbacks left 2 on in the 4th. They left them loaded in the 5th. They have 2 on here in the 6th, with the Reds leading 4-0. Pitch number 100 in the game coming up for Johnny Cueto. 3-2 to Young, and he walks him.
Well, that's going to bring a visit up to the mound by Brian Price. They've got somebody warming up down the Reds bullpen.
Jose Arredondo getting loose in the bullpen. Cueto retired the first 10 batters of the game.
I'm a little surprised in that particular at bat, especially after he blew away Goldschmidt. And he threw fastballs right by Chris Young. That they got the 2-2 count and then tried to trick him with a couple of changeups.
Started talking about Cueto after retiring the first 10 batters of the game. He has allowed 8 base runners over the last 3 innings. But the bottom line is there's only one category that matters up on that scoreboard. You can have batting averages, you can have base hits and errors and men left on base, and you can have every number you can conceivably think of. The only one that means anything are the numbers running down underneath the letter R. And a 0 in that category so far for Cueto, and needs 1 more out to keep it there. And you got to believe on this hot night, this is going to be the final inning tonight for Cueto. Question is, can he finish the inning?
Might be the final batter. Pitcher on deck.
Off speed again on Parra.
Now you almost backed yourself into a situation where you have to throw a fastball. You've missed 3 changeups in a row. A little indecision right there.
Cueto walked his first batter of the game in the 4th. He walked 2 batters in the 5th. He has walked 1 batter here in the 6th, and falling behind Parra with the bases loaded 2-0. But Parra helped him there.
You get a situation like this, I never forget what old-time pitching coach Ray Miller used to say. Miller used to say, take your best pitch, take a little bit off, and throw it at the knees. Make sure you throw it for a strike. That's what Cueto did right there. Took a couple miles off that fastball, and it was still good enough to get by Parra.
2-1 to count. Beat him with a fastball in there. 2-2.
Oh, that's the one Parra really wanted right there, right in his wheelhouse. Kind of a shorter hitter, likes the ball up rather than down. This crowd trying to feed Johnny some extra adrenaline.
start is starting to become reminiscent of Cueto's final outing before the All-Star break. 5 2/3 innings. Now in that game he gave up 2 runs, but a very high pitch count. This will be his 26th pitch of this 6th inning. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. He's run the count full on Parra. Oh, Johnny. Oh, Johnny. Diamondbacks have left 8 runners on the last 3 innings. And some wiffle ball. Well, you can do so by taking part in the 6th annual Reds Community Fund Wiffle Ball Classic. Saturday, July the 28th. They moved it up to Mason. Register for your team and learn more information about the event by visiting reds.com/summerwiffle. WIFFLE. It's always a great event. Johnny Cueto got a little help on that 3-2 pitch by Gerardo Parra. That was clearly ball 4, but it looked good to Parra, and he came up empty on a big swing and a miss.
Well, what a battler. What a battler.
Did you hear that fan down there?
That's not a fan, that's a vendor.
A vendor singing Bow Tie Tuesday for Chris Welsh. Looking very sharp here tonight, and thanks to our Meyer text poll question when we were in San Diego. By almost a, what, 91, 92% number. Fans wanted to see you wear that sport coat again on Bow Tie Tuesday, so you obliged tonight. High fly ball down the left field line by Heisey, and Parra with room and foul ground for the first out in the inning. Holmender's done a nice job tonight in relief of Trevor Bauer. He's worked 2 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs. Struck out 4, walked about it.
It's a nice option for Kirk Gibson to have out there as a bullpenner that can come in and give you this kind of outing. And they let him bat, and he laid down a sacrifice bunt in the 5th inning, move a couple of runners over.
Reds have sent Mike Leake into the on-deck circle to bat for Johnny Cueto. Hannigan dribbles one down to third. Bloomquist throws on the run. That's a nice play by Willie Bloomquist. 2 out. So close the book on Johnny Cueto. The Reds really needed him to step up tonight, and he does what an ace does. Would like to have pitched deeper than the 6 innings, but the pitch count began to build over the last 3. Johnny allows 4 base hits, no runs in 6 innings. He walked 4. All 4 walks came in his last 3 frames. And struck out 3, including 2 in his final inning, the last one with the bases loaded. And Leake hammers one foul. Immediately Cueto's checking in with head trainer Paul Assard down there in the dugout. Of course, Cueto started tonight rather than Sunday night because of a blister that had developed on his pitching hand. And they're looking at it right now. Now, Chris, on your experience, I would imagine virtually every pitcher, not all of them, but a lot of them, you know, you guys develop blisters. What's the best way of going about treating that?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, Tom. I've heard all sorts of things. You can soak your fingers in pickle brine. That's an old-time folk remedy for that. There's some stuff that they used to use called plastic skin or new skin. You'd wrap on there, that would always come off. Nothing really except a little bit of time.
Swing and a miss by Leake, and the Reds are gone in order. We march on to the 7th. Cueto will hand it to the bullpen. 4-0 Cincinnati. That way until the 3rd inning. A couple of walks with 2 men out by Trevor Bauer, then the home run by Ludwig after a fastball knocked him down the first pitch of the at-bat. And that's been more than enough for Johnny Cueto through 6. 4-hit shutout baseball leaves the bases loaded, fanning Gerardo Parra, ending his final inning. So 4 runs, only 3 hits for the Reds. 1 error, 5 men left. Arizona shutout on 4 hits, 2 errors, 8 men stranded. And now taking over on the mound, having a rock-solid year, is right-hander Jose Arredondo.
He had a rock-solid game last night. He came in and pitched 1 inning. It was a 1-2-3 inning, struck out a batter. Tell you what, when he throws strikes, especially with that splitter, awfully tough to figure out. Good earned run average right down there around 2. Opponent batting average like he's pitching against pitchers.
Jeff Blum to bat for Josh Colmenter, who did an excellent job out of the Arizona bullpen. 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Oh, and 2. Stephen Drew on deck, the leadoff man, and then Willie Bloomquist against Arredondo.
Blum came in as a pinch hitter last night. He faced Arredondo and popped up to first base.
And on an 0-2 pitch, he just hooks it into right and finds a hole.
Well, he was fooled on that, got way out ahead, but just able to make contact. That's a splitter right there. He may have got that up a little bit, but still, look at it. Our box track shows it at the bottom end of the strike zone on the outer part of the plate. You can't really blame yourself as a pitcher if you give up a base hit like that, even on a 0-2 pitch.
Stephen Drew 0 for 2 has bounced to the mound, struck out, and drawn a walk. Well, you don't want the Diamondbacks to have yet another scoring chance. Sooner or later, law of averages would tell you they're going to get a big base hit. Left 2 on in the 4th, left them loaded in each of the last 2 innings. 1-1 to Drew. Straight up behind the second base bag. It'll be Phillips giving way to Kozar. 1 out. If you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, try JTM's Meatball Sub Kits. You can get them at your local grocer's freezer. JTM, let's create great dishes together. So now Willie Bloomquist. Back in that 5th inning, Arizona got a 1-out double by Chris Young. Cueto walked Parra, and after the pitcher advanced the runners with a bunt, Stephen Drew followed with a walk to load the bases. So Cueto had walked 2 out of 3 batters. And Bloomquist went up there, first pitch hacking, and popped up to the right fielder Chris Heisey to leave the bases juiced.
Well, you know, they say that stats don't lie, and he's only got 13 runs batted in and 275 at-bats this year. So he's got his batting average up around 300. Not bad at all, but if you start looking inside the numbers, there's really productive hits. I'm not sure what that little whispering conversation was between Jerry Lane and Willie Bloomquist.
Bloomquist, one of those guys, even going back to his days in college. Great program at Arizona State University. Has always been one of those grinders. Had to go out and earn everything that ever came his way.
A good guy. I mean, the few games he was with the Reds, I think he was there about a few weeks.
Even that.
Good, solid guy.
Mm-hmm. Bloomquist, originally a 3rd-round draft pick all the way back in 1999 by Seattle. Been in the big leagues ever since 2002. That's a good career.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his career in Seattle. 2 years in Kansas City. 11 games for the Reds at the end of 2010. And then regular playing time after the injury to Stephen Drew last year. His only season until now in Arizona. One ball and 2 strikes on Bloomquist. 1 on, 1 out. Nowhere near the strike zone. Well, there have been a pile of 3-ball counts in this game tonight.
Well, he's had a few. Arredondo has had a few times in this at bat just trying to get that splitter to come out of his hand right. I don't know whether he's got too much sweat on his fingers or that ball just coming out there slipping and staying up and out of the zone.
3-2 to count on Bloomquist. Aaron Hill waits on deck. Struck him out swinging and again had help.
Yep, definitely up and out of the zone, but hey, fooled by the arm action. Bloomquist thinking maybe that's a high fastball right there, and it's a key out.
So with 2 gone and a runner at first base, here's Aaron Hill. Hill has fouled out to third, drawn a walk, and then singled into center field his last time up. That one stays high, and you see Hannigan saying, come on, get the thing down. Ball 1.
Now, the Reds have been so good at shortening the ball game this year. Well, they lead after 7 innings, and here they are in the 7th inning, 1 out to go to finish one off for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have 137, only lost 4.
There's a ball on Arredondo. He's had a couple of those this season.
Yeah, that was, you know, it's usually miscommunication between the pitcher and the catcher, where you think you have a sign and you start your motion and then you don't have the sign. So you'll see him move and then stop again. Move, oh, that move right there is the balk.
So now Blum, who began the inning with a single to right, is balked in a scoring position. There you go, look at that splitter, and barely making contact is Hill. 1 ball and 1 strike. Going all the way back to the first week of his season, that was on April the 9th against St. Louis. The second game in which Arredondo pitched this year. He allowed a season-high 3 runs in just 1/3 of an inning. Now, if you take away that 1/3 of an inning this year, and obviously you can't, but if you did, in his other 38 games this year, Arredondo's earned run average is 1.4 for the season. Sean Marshall ready down in the Reds bullpen. Probably getting ready should the inning continue for Miguel Montero due up next. 1-2 on Hill. Tapper rolling, charging, bare hands, throws and got him. Scotty rolling with a beauty. game. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. How about this play?
Scott Rowland. Yeah, Rowland senses it when he knows he needs to make one of those do-or-die, barehanded plays down there. I mean, look how he watches the ball right into his hand.
It's a ball player, man. I mean, there are a lot of guys on this Reds team you can really like, follow, and feel like, boy, I'd like to play like they do. That guy right there is right at the top of the list. That's a ball player. Greg Breslow takes over for the Diamondbacks. He's been busy as far as games go. This will be his 36th, averaging just a little better than an inning per outing.
It's another strike thrower, only 11 walks in 38 innings, nearly 38 innings. He's been pretty good lately, too. He's held his opponent scoreless in his last 6 of 8. So good job, really, by the Diamondbacks bullpen, but equally as good a job done by the Reds bullpen, and that's the difference is that it runs off the starter.
You know, both bullpens last night were exceptional. Arizona got 3 1/3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball, and of course the Reds got 6 innings out of their bullpen, allowed 5 hits and no runs. Top of the order against Breslow. It's strike 1 to Drew Stubbs. 0 for 2 in the game. His walk, stolen a base, scored a run. Reds have managed only 3 base hits in a game tonight. They've not had one, or not had more than one in any inning. They got the home run by Ludwig, a 3-run home run in the 3rd, a double by Hannigan with 1 out in the 4th, and a leadoff single by Cozart in the 5th. That's been it. They had 9 hits last night, but much like the Diamondbacks tonight, when they got their base hits, a couple of chances to tie the game, they just couldn't find that big one. Montero has taken a beating back behind that plate tonight, but able to smile through it all.
Well, you know that Trevor Bauer beat him up. Well, that's a rough position to play.
No doubt about it.
I mean, you get a break, I guess, in Arizona, but now they've got that stadium. It's not nearly as hot as it is when they get outside of that stadium. Of course, they play in a division where most of the temperatures are cool throughout the summer. Boy, you catch behind the plate here on an everyday basis. You're packing 2 or 3 gallons of water home to the hotel every night just to get your water weight back.
Back up the middle off the glove. It trickles to Drew, and once he couldn't find the handle, it was going to be a hit all the way for Stubbs.
Well, it's slowed down by the pitcher, and the bobble right there, that's a double whammy when you get the speed of Drew Stubbs. Only one of those things needs to happen.
Cozart trying to advance a runner with a bunt. Ball 1. Bunted foul by Kozar. That'll even account at a ball and a strike. Two and one on Kozai. Stubbs over there at first with a steal already in the game tonight. His 18th of the year, 18 out of 22 in that category.
Guy's not easy to steal on. Has not given one up this year, but he's picked off a few. That's why you see the bunt.
Nicely done that time by Kozart, putting the bunt down to advance a runner. If you're hitting the road, why not take Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds with you? Subscribe to MLB.tv today. MLB.tv is baseball everywhere. So now a visit to the mound by Montero before Breslow will face Brandon Phillips.
Well, they want to make sure they've got the signals right. When the runner on second base, they want to allow Drew Stubbs to relay those signals or signs, whatever's going to be thrown in there, to Brandon Phillips. So they'll go to a sequence or trick him up a little bit.
Breslow, one of those guys who just bounces around and actually by and large has put up pretty good major league career numbers. Well over 320 games, a career earned run average of under 3. He's pitched for San Diego, Boston. A little bit of time with Cleveland. A couple of years in Minnesota, and the last 3 years in Oakland.
Well, he also went to Yale, so if that doesn't work out, he's got something to fall back on.
Yeah, with a degree, 2 of them, in molecular biophysics and another in biochemistry. I can't even spell those 2 degrees.
Or say them.
Well, I think I stumbled my way through that. 2009. He was named the smartest man in baseball by the Wall Street Journal.
I didn't know they had that.
I didn't know they did either.
We got it last year.
Were you ever on that list?
No. I had Eric Shaw on my team. We all came in second.
Now, the late Eric Shaw, was he a really smart guy?
Oh, my goodness. He used to travel with college textbooks. I mean, like the ones you just described. I'm not going to try to say them either.
0-2 on Brandon. Stubbs out there at second base with 1 out. We're only in the 7th inning of a 4-0 game. Eric Shaw, of course, had a very solid major league career. Allowed 41 and 92 to Peter Edward Rhodes right here in Cincinnati at the old Riverfront Stadium. Now, would you ever talk with him about some of these books that he would travel around with him?
Yeah. I would ask him, do you really read those? While we were flipping through Louis L'Amour novels. And he'd say, yes, I do.
I mean, were they chemistry? Were
they were chemistry. They were physics. They were philosophy books. And he really studied them. An amazing guy. Very talented pitcher. Very talented musician. One of the best jazz guitarists you'd ever would have heard.
And died as a very young man.
Yeah, very much a shame. Very much of a shame there.
1-2 on Brandon. Breaking ball down and in to even the count. It's been a while ago, hasn't it? I mean, it's been a number of years since he passed away.
Oh, yeah. Long time. Two and
2 on Brandon Phillips. Struck him out swinging on a fastball. Up in the strike zone, and there are 2 out in the inning. You know, Breslow, very obviously, and we touched on it when he came in the game, you look at his number of appearances and his number of innings pitched, which lends you to believe he's just not some left-hander they bring in to get a left-hander out and then get out of the game. He has thrown better than on average an inning per outing. And that has been the story throughout his entire major league career. Now Ludwig has one of the 4 Reds hits in the game, but by far the biggest hit of the game. A 3-run home run to left field back in the 3rd inning to make it a 4-0 game, and that's where we stand here in the 7th. First pitch in the at-bat. Fastball by Bauer, knocked him down. And then he almost knocked down the second deck facing with his blast on the next pitch. Ludwig now 14 home runs and 39 runs batted in. 2-0 on Ludwig. Pulled foul. Milwaukee in the bottom of the 6th inning, leading St. Louis 3-2. Colorado in the top of the 5th inning in Denver, a 2-1 lead over the Pirates. Miami all over the Cubbies. Likewise for the Giants, 9-0 in the 9th over Atlanta. It's Barry Zito on the mound tonight for San Francisco. Nationals and Mets are in the 10th inning of a 3-3 game. Two pitch on Ludwig. Fastball runs in. To the 3rd baseman Bloomquist. Reaches across his body, throws on the 1st, inning over. So the 8th is coming up. Montero, Upton, and Goldschmidt. Diamondbacks trail the Reds by 4. ranking 3rd in the nation again in the U.S. News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals, and by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. Talked about the Rockies and the Pirates. How about the season being turned in by Andrew McCutchen?
Unbelievable, really. I mean, a lot of the guys who went to the All-Star game have struggled a little bit after the All-Star break. They come back, they're tired, there's so much on him, but Andrew McCutchen has not skipped a beat.
National League's leading hitter, batting over 370.
Unbelievable.
22 home runs. That home run, not knowing what Ryan Braun and Carlos Beltran have done tonight, ties him for the league lead in RBIs. And look at those numbers in his last 96 at-bats. Ichiro, the last player to have 50 hits in a 100-game stretch.
Ooh.
100 at-bat stretch, pardon me.
So why did he pitch to him?
When you watch the Pirates play, you ask yourself that question all the time.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that say the same thing about the Reds when they have Joey Votto in the lineup. Johnny Cueto, the front six, allowed 4 hits, no runs. Jose Arredondo, 1 inning, 1 strikeout, 1 hit, no runs. And now the right-hander, Sam LeCure.
Yeah, Sam's had a couple of days off since he's been last in there. That was against the Cardinals. He picked up the win in that ball game with 1 inning of scoreless baseball.
I'll tell you one thing that has happened with this Reds bullpen this year, and you go all the way back to, you know, the way they stacked up, if you will, from the back moving forward. Marshall, the original closer, and there have been changes. But Dusty Baker this year has also used a number of other pitchers that have picked up saves on his team. But a game like tonight, because of when you have used Arredondo, the fact that you brought in Andrusic for an inning in last night's game, along with Alfredo Simon, who's had a lot of work recently after going a long time with no work, is virtually everybody in that bullpen has had a chance to pitch in close games late in games.
Exactly right. Which is really a deviation of what's happened over the last few years and in most normal bullpens, where you have a long guy, a mop-up guy, and then you have a guy who's going to pitch in the 6th inning, and then a 7th inning guy, an 8th inning, and then your closer. But here you have such good success and so many of these pitchers having good years that they've all kind of been notched up a little bit together. There's the newest member of the Reds bullpen, right-hander Todd Redmond, recently acquired from the Atlanta Braves in exchange for Paul Janisch. It's been a whirlwind for him. His AAA franchise was in Louisville playing against the Bats. He gets traded, so he goes over from one clubhouse to the other.
Back to the mound, easy play by LeCure, 1 out.
And within a day or two, he's in the big leagues.
Now, Chris, how weird is that? Or odd or uncomfortable? I'm not sure what the word is, but, you know, you've been traded, and all of a sudden you show up being called up from the minor leagues. And in his case, he has really not been around anybody in the entire Reds organization since what you just mentioned happened while he was in Louisville. But now to come up and to sit out there in the bullpen, I mean, you just sit out there and keep your mouth shut, introduce yourself to a few guys, or do you try to strike up a conversation with guys? Here's a slow roller by Upton. What a play by LeCure! Nearly threw him out.
Maybe anybody on this team but Upton going down the line, he might have. Man, oh man, what a play. I thought he was going to put it in his pocket. Sam might be able to play a little 3B.
Well, that is some kind of arm to be able to make that throw. On 1 foot, all your body going away from where you're throwing.
And still have it attached to your body.
Now Goldschmidt 0 for 3 is line to center, bounced to third and struck out. We're in the 8th. Reds lead 4-0. Strike one. Well, after nearly that great play, I want to hear your thoughts on when you do go down to that bullpen.
Well, you know, you strike up a conversation. Now, that depends on what kind of a guy. If you're shy, you don't do that. If you're outgoing, you certainly do. I met him before the ball game. Went down to the clubhouse to talk to him. Nice guy. He's from the same area down in St. Pete that Nick Massett is from. And he's a big dude. I mean, he's a big, strong guy. Spent the last few years down at AAA for the Braves. Fastball, slider, splitter. And I guess he'll have a lot of nervousness. First of all, every time the phone rings, because he's not sure if it's going to be his name or not. And I'm sure that Dusty Baker would like to get him in sooner than later. Although not tonight, because he was really brought up here as kind of a fallback plan in the event that Johnny Cueto could not pitch because of that blister that he had.
There's strike three called on Goldschmidt. And, you know, Chris, it makes you wonder, do the Reds go get another position player, knowing that he was brought up here as a precautionary measure for Johnny Cueto just in case? Do you need another position player?
I don't know if you need 13 pitchers, not the way that this starting rotation has been able to go deep into games nearly every night. I mean, so most teams have 12 pitchers. The Reds now have one extra, one less position player. I imagine that Walt Jockett is out looking for somebody to replace Joey Votto on the roster, and that would probably be a position player. And more than likely a guy who hits left-handed. I mean, they ran Mike Leake out as a pinch hitter tonight.
McCure coming in throwing strikes.
Well, he
9
does
of his
that.
first 11 pitches.
He does that a lot. What he's able to do so well is just dot that eye on the outside of the strike zone to a right-handed hitter. He just lives on that black.
The outside corner, 2-2 on Chris Young. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. No runs, 6 hits for Arizona. We're in the 8th inning. McCure trying to get his team to bat in the bottom of the 8th and then try and nail this thing down in the 9th. Even a series at 1 apiece with 2 more to go. Again, a night game tomorrow night. Plenty of tickets are available tomorrow and Thursday afternoon. And the Reds stay right here through the weekend against Milwaukee. That's right down the middle. Very impressive inning by Sam McCure. Reds 4, Arizona nothing. a second straight inning, this time in a sixth. 3-2 pitch, and Johnny Cueto fans Gerardo Parra. 6 shutout innings tonight for the Reds ace. And if the bullpen can nail it down in the ninth, he would get win number 11 on the year. And the earned run average, Chris, over the last 2 years here at Great American Ballpark would dip below 1.6 for Johnny Cueto.
I'll tell you, unless you come out to a lot of games here or watch them on TV, and we do know that there are a lot of people doing that right now, you don't realize how good that is. I mean, you can just miss-hit a ball to right field, and it pops out of here for a home run into the front row. And Cueto just does not allow that to happen. It's amazing.
I mean, I like the point you made about as you look at Mike Zagorski, they call him Bronco. But I like the number you put out there. I mean, it's one thing for us to say Johnny Cueto last 2 years, Great American Ballpark, most hitter-friendly ballpark in Major League Baseball, 1.7 ERA going into tonight. But in over, well, nearly 800 games in this ballpark, the average starting pitcher's earned run average is 4.5. That is the average of guys that have started games in this ballpark. And Cueto is more than 2.5 runs less than that. For those of you that didn't see it.
Now, this was coming into today. This is what you're talking about.
4.2, I'm sorry.
Johnny's earned run average coming into today, 1.7. All other starting pitchers who've come in here, Reds pitchers or pitchers from other teams, their average of 4.2. It's a difference of 2.5 runs a game. I mean, Cueto's a guy that simply wants to be the best pitcher in the league, period.
Short right center, it'll fall in front of Young. It's a base hit for Rowe, and he's on base for the 3rd time tonight. Frank Sinatra, the music of Todd Frazier, much to the delight of Jim Strickler up here in the booth, our cameraman, high home camera. He always does a little moving around every time Frazier comes up. Frazier does a mighty good impersonation of Frank Sinatra,
yeah, he does.
And he's not afraid to do it.
In front of a large audience.
Did it at the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah. 1,800 people there?
Yeah. He's hoping that bat can do a little singing. He's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts here tonight.
Is his the only walk-up tune that you recognize?
It's about right.
Me too. We got to get the list.
Well, it's such a young team. Now, you know, that's the thing about this Reds club. As Frazier has gone for the 4th time on strikes. We have so many young players that, I mean, there's a long time, Chris, where you knew every single song when guys were walking into the plate. When it started that up about 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Of course, you were 10 years younger then, too.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the list and highlight a couple of them.
Izzy pops it up. Now, you know who knows a lot of them that I think would come as a surprise to many people is my dad. Because as you know, if there is one guy out there that is in tune with a current music scene, it would be the Hall of Famer Marty Brennan.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that on his recent vacation, he had that little honeymoon. That he had his little iPod dock sitting right there next to the lawn chair, just playing all the tunes. Yeah, probably half the tunes on his iPod are also on Brandon Phillips.
Pitch taken, throw down the Second is in time to cut down Rowland. And that will end the inning.
You never had it so good.
Four nothing ball game. Some of the images from this one here tonight. A Great American Ballpark, and we've arrived in the top of the ninth inning. Now, you and I both recognize this song by Led Zeppelin. This is a song when Sean Marshall comes into the game. That's about it.
This is way before his time. I hate to tell him that, but
yeah, he would have been he would have been an infant when this song came out. But obviously, you know, my guess is he probably has some older brothers and sisters. Listen to a little bit of this.
To us, it never gets old.
No.
So I wish I could remember those days.
Gerardo Parra to lead things off against Marshall following Cueto's 6 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball. Arredondo 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. LeCure 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. Reds pitching. The Reds bullpen rather has not walked a batter. Cueto walked 4 in 6 innings. Cueto, pitcher of record, would go to 11 victories against 5 defeats. And Trevor Bauer, in his 4th major league start, would slip to 1-2 with the loss. No save chance for Marshall. A 4-run spread here in the 9th. Told you tickets are available, although you'll want to get here early tomorrow. They're giving away the Jay Bruce bobblehead. First 25,000 through the gate. 7:10 start tomorrow. Matt Latos will start it for the Reds against Ian Kennedy. 6-8 this year after winning 21 games a season ago. Strike 3 called. Latos has been on quite a roll. St. Louis really made him work that first game after the All-Star break. Over 100 pitches in 5 innings, and the wheels could have come undone in 2 or 3 of those 5 innings, and he only allowed the 2 runs.
I thought that was a very impressive outing for Latos. I mean, when the guy has this great stuff and he's striking out 13, you know, you're going to have those when you're as talented as Matt Latos. You're going to have those nights where everything's great. But when you battle like he did, or when Johnny Cueto battled like he did tonight, those are the ones, for me, they're the difference makers.
Ryan Roberts batting for Mike Zagurski. Arizona's had a second straight night of dynamite bullpen work. Told you last night they got 3 1/3, 1-hit shutout baseball out of Ziegler, Hernandez, and Putz. And for Kirk Gibson tonight, a huge lift by Colementor, 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs. And scoreless innings behind him from Breslow and Zagurski. Foul ball, and Roland still got to it, was ready to make a play. Love watching a guy play, man. Not officiating, not umpiring down there. They put him at third to get anything that comes close to him. 1-2 on Roberts. Talked about what a great year Ryan Roberts had last year, and I mean came out of nowhere. Hit 19 home runs, drove in 65. Guy who had spent a lot of time in the minor leagues, up and down with Toronto in 07, again 08. Came to the Diamondbacks in 2009. Only played in 36 games in 2010 before getting a chance to play regularly last year. Batting average was low, but man, he had a lot of big hits for the Diamondbacks last season. Ball hit hard, it'll fall in a hit.
Good swing. Well, he stays behind this ball really nicely, Roberts. See how his head goes down there and kind of make sure he doesn't pull off that pitch.
Stephen Drew walks to the plate for now the 5th time in the game. 0 for 3 has drawn a walk. Reds leading 4-0. 1 on, 1 out. We're in the 9th. Strike one. Did he go around? Yes, he did. And Marshall now ahead of Drew at a ball and 2 strikes. Reds only 5 hits tonight. Well, they have 4 runs. Took advantage of wildness, big time wildness by the starter Trevor Bauer. Remember, Bauer only lasted 3 innings in the game, and he had a 1-2-3 second inning. So in the other 2 frames, he walked 5 batters. Only allowed the 1 hit.
He bounced about that many pitches to the backstop behind home too. Tell you what though, when he harnesses that location of that breaking ball, the kid's going to win some games in this league.
smaller crowd than we have had in a long, long time tonight. Tuesday night. Very warm when this one got in their way, and there's a swing and a miss, and the Diamondbacks are down to their final out. Second strikeout by Marshall.
Now they got the first batter, Parra, looking at a slider. This time he goes to the breaking ball, the big curve ball right there, and it just keeps tailing away from Stephen Drew, and he gets a punch out. Reds have gotten Aroldis Chapman up and throwing, I think, very lightly in the bullpen just in case.
Reds trying to match for the second time in 3 days their season high 12 games over the 500 mark. Pirates are leading Colorado that game in a 6th inning 5-2. And Milwaukee in a 7-3-2 lead over St. Louis. Those that have hung around through nearly 3.5 hours of baseball here tonight are still into it big time. Marshall trying to pick up the final strike, the final out, and give the Reds their 400th win here at Great American Ballpark. One-two on Bloomquist, and it's into center field, a base hit. So now Aaron Hill comes to the plate.
And what do you do if you're Dusty Baker? He's coming out to the mound. Is he going to make a change? Or are you going to go out and talk to Sean Marshall?
You bring in Chapman here, it would be a save chance with a tying run at third base, and he's going to get that save chance. They're bringing him in right now. So Marshall comes on in the 9th with a 4-run lead and will get the hook, giving up a couple of singles. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. was for Aroldis Chapman against the St. Louis Cardinals. Pitched in all 3 games. And boy, he was spectacular. Saves in 2 of them. A win in another. Struck out 8 batters in 3 days.
I'm sure that Dusty Baker would have loved to get through this ball game without having to use Aroldis. 4 of the last 5 games now for Chapman, so you have to give him a blow one of these days. Right now it is a safe situation with the tying run on the on-deck circuit, but a 4-0 lead. And 1 out to get.
First pitch fastball to Aaron Hill. Now, if there's one guy in this Arizona lineup that can hit a fastball, we know it. We've seen it as Aaron Hill. Now, maybe not an Aroldis Chapman fastball, but he can hit a fastball. Whoa. Guy has been a strikeout machine all year, but he has not been on the kind of run this season like he has been on lately. Last 7 innings, Chapman has struck out 18 batters and allowed only 2 hits. Oh, 2 on Hill. Tack on another strikeout, 101 miles per hour. And Chapman gets save number 14, and the Reds shut out the Diamondbacks 4-0. Cueto win number 11. This guy's unbelievable.
I mean, it really fired up the fans, too. Bringing him in here in the 9th inning, they're waiting around. You know, they don't want to lose the lead or anything, but they do want to see the Cuban Missile firing it up there.
Cool.
And he does that. 101. That's a weapon for you right there now.
Well, you're not lying, Chris.
The more he does that, the harder it will be to make him a starter.
Well, he is the most lethal weapon right now out of the bullpen of any team in Major League Baseball. There's nobody running like he's running right now. Kimbrel has probably been more consistent throughout the entire year. Nobody has been more dominant. 4-0 final. Back with more in a moment.